Have you ever wondered if your pet in spirit is still with you? How would you know if they were? Would you need a without a doubt sign from them? So today I'm sharing 5 unusual ways that your pet may be reaching out to you, ways you might not have thought of. Some of these signs actually may surprise you. So stick with me and see if you've experienced any of them yourself. By watching this video and opening your mind, I bet you might start noticing little signs, unexpected moments that make you stop and wonder, was that them? Those are fun and the best. I know I've had that happen to me. Our lives are so busy that we often miss subtle messages or signs from our pets in spirit, ones that are, quite frankly, hidden in plain sight. But before we get into things, I want to share a Tami tip. Your pets are going to send you signs and messages that come from their life experiences with you. That's their reference point. It's up to you to notice them and to interpret their meaning. A couple of more things. How good of an observer are you? Do you notice what you notice? You're probably saying, what? If you make it a daily practice to be a keen observer, like Sherlock Holmes, who was highly observant and could meticulously piece together not so obvious details, you will discover that spirit is sending you signs all the time. Animal communication, and that includes receiving messages, is based on the power of observation, of being keenly aware. So sign number 1, sudden or repeated memories of your pet. Have you ever been in the middle of your day, focused on work, running errands, or doing something totally unrelated, and suddenly you have a vivid memory of your pet drop in out of nowhere? Maybe it's a random but deeply specific moment, something that zoomed in, the way they used to greet you at the door, or a quirky habit only they had, that funny look that they'd give you when they wanted something, or all those times that they did a little grin where they showed their teeth. Those are different from just remembering them. It feels kind of like a nudge, like they're right there with you saying, hey, I'm still here with you. I know I've experienced this myself. I was once writing a story about a dog named Molly when suddenly memories that I had completely forgotten about came flooding in. And I strongly felt Molly's presence, her essence. She was nudging me, and I heard telepathically, don't forget this part and that part. She wanted to make sure I included them in the story. She was my co-author. I replied out loud, yes, Mother. You see, Molly's nickname was Mother Molly. She always was a little bossy. A client of mine told me that she was driving when out of the blue, she remembered her dog, Barney, sitting in the passenger seat. She saw and felt him placing his paw on her hand, just like he always did. She told me that she actually reached out and over to the seat because for a moment she said, I swore he was there. Pretty sure he was. Have you ever had a memory of your pet show up randomly, so strong that you felt like they were right there with you? Please share in the comments. So sign number 2, objects moving or showing up in unusual places. This is kind of a fun one. Ever had something of your pet's move on its own? Maybe a favorite toy, a collar, a framed photo that suddenly shows up somewhere unexpected. A photo fall on the floor. I had a throw blanket from Murphy, and it literally threw itself out of the closet in front of me for no reason. It just did. That got my attention really quickly. I think I was vacuuming at the time. So I stopped vacuuming, and I ended up crying because I was still pretty wrapped up in the grief. It dawned on me a little bit later when I wasn't grieving as much that he had been saying hello I had missed that one. Went right over my head. You know, my client also she has a special memory shelf for her cat Blue. She called me completely freaked out because his collar, his catnip toy, and his favorite stuffy kept appearing in different places in the house. You know what the weirdest part is? They would show up in all the places he loved to be when he was alive. That's pretty nice. And then there's this. Another client was walking through a park when she saw a random soccer ball in the middle, nobody around it, like it had been forgotten. And the second she saw it, she thought of her dog Benji, who had passed the week before. Benji used to love playing soccer. It was his thing. And she told me when she got in the car, she pulled out her phone. Guess what? Photo memory popped up. I bet you can. Benji with his soccer ball. I mean, that's the kind of thing that makes you stop and say, wait a minute, did that just happen? So have you ever had an object mysteriously move or show up in a place that made you think, I wonder if that was my pet doing that? If so, please let me know in the comments. I'm sure there are plenty of stories. So sign number 3, unexplained physical sensations or sounds. So have you ever felt the soft nudge at your side, the warmth of your pet's body next to you, or maybe you've heard the faint jingle of a collar or a bark, a meow, or even a familiar purring sound when no one else was around. You're not going crazy, I promise. That's your pet doing what it always did, being part of your life. These little moments can be so comforting, and so it really pays to help pay attention. Like, you know, another client told me that every night at feeding time, she would hear this familiar click, click, click of her dog's nails across the kitchen floor, right up to the spot where his bowl used to be. And another friend said she saw her dog Maisie in spirit form playing with toys on her bed. And in the morning, she looked, and where Maisie had always been, there was an indentation spot in the covers. What about you? Have you felt your pet's presence physically? You know, a brush against the leg, hearing a familiar sound? I'd love to hear. Sign number 4, other animals acting differently around you. Sometimes pets in spirit communicate through other animals. You might notice, for instance, a bird that keeps appearing at your window at the same time each day, a stray dog that follows you for no reason, your current pet staring at a certain spot, wagging their tail at nothing. You know, a client told me that after her beloved cat Sunny passed, the same bird came to her window every single day for 3 straight weeks, right where Sunny used to bird watch in her cat tree. And when my dog Murphy passed, little Zoe would go over to his bed and just stare at it like she was having a full-on conversation with him. I am sure she was. She absolutely adored him. If you have other pets, have you noticed them acting any differently after one of your pets has passed? Maybe reacting to something you can't even see. Sign number 5, it's a favorite of mine, seeing a doppelganger of your pet. Have you ever heard the saying that everyone has a double somewhere in the world? I've been stopped numerous times and mistaken for somebody else. Well, pretty sure our pets do too. Imagine you're walking down the street, lost in thought, when suddenly you see your pet. Same face, same markings, even the same way of walking. You do a double take, only to discover it's not them. These moments actually can stop you in your tracks. I had a dog named Frazier. After he passed, I really, really missed him. He had been a gorgeous chestnut-colored golden retriever, so it's a little unusual. One day, as I was getting out of my car at the grocery store, a car went past me, or kind of right in front of me. Hanging out of the window was a chestnut-colored golden retriever who looked exactly like Fraser. I'm telling you, it was a slow motion moment. The dog looked directly at me as they passed by, all the way like that, and didn't stop until he couldn't see me anymore. And one more. A friend of mine took a trip to Italy after her dog Casey passed. She saw a couple walking a lab who looked exactly like Casey. She said, the whole world slowed down for a second. She'd been grieving him so much, which is why she went on this trip. And as a couple approached, they stopped to look at something. And when they did, the dog turned around and stared. She said, Tammy, an energy passed between us. I felt this dog could have been Casey, yet it wasn't. That moment actually changed her life and her whole trip because she knew and could feel Casey was with her. She wasn't alone. It's a coincidence? I don't think so. Love never ends. It just changes form. Our pets may cross the rainbow bridge, but their love continues to shine in the most beautiful ways. So, which of these signs have you experienced? Or have you experienced other unusual ones? Drop a comment below. I would love to hear your stories. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps more people find this message. Want to learn more about me and my work? Visit TamiHendrix.com. I'll be back next week with more messages from the animals. Hope to see you then.